Gentleman at the back there.
Thank you. Andy Carver, consultant pharmacist, antimicrobials. Could I ask Dr. Joseph, would you advocate UTI prophylaxis in the community? And if so, would you use cycling of antibiotics in that context?
Generally not, and I think we've recently actually introduced local guidance to support prescribers in the community a bit more on recurrent UTI prophylaxis, not without trying alternative measures first, and the potential for using other agents, non-antibiotic agents such as methenamine, I think is going to become more widespread, and especially with the long-term risks of nitrofurantoin in older population groups, I think it's something that we're definitely cautious about.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone? Yes, at the back there.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the antibiotic pharmacists and I work across the interface of primary and secondary care. So I do work as a hospital pharmacist, but I do take care of 44 practices within the CCG in our patch. Within our population locally, what we're finding is only 50%, as you've quoted, of E. coli bacteremias are caused by, do have a urogenital origin, so their source we can get back to UTIs. I feel that there's a massive emphasis on UTIs and how we can prevent those, but what about the 50% that aren't urinary? We're looking for ideas on how we can improve. Everything that's been talked about today, we do. We work very effectively across the interface. We have done for many, many years. But how can we improve further on the non-UTI source E. coli bacteremias? That's my question.
Shall I start to answer? Can you hear me, yeah? I think that's where it's really important that we learn from areas that have achieved success. So some of the trusts we've been working with can give examples where they have concentrated in, say, for example, hepatobiliary sources and have gone through a programme of reduction. But what we don't know and what we're not good at doing is sharing our work or saying what we have done to achieve success. So a lot of people perhaps have not got a publication that they can, present and give wherever, but there is some really good case studies out there, and I think that's where we do need to draw on those and ask areas, what have you done to achieve reductions, and then we can share them through the PIN events, through whatever systems we set up. Can't hear you. I'm quite good at lip reading, but not that good.
Let the mic come back to you. That'd be brilliant. Thank you.
Do you know those trusts, and would we be able to contact them? Because we are really at a loss, because we've done everything that we can with regards to urinary tract infections, and there's nothing more we can do. But from our RCAs, we can see 50% are either hepatobiliary or gastro, and that's where we need to improve further.
I think that's where these PIN events, I hope, will bring together those groups of trust that you can work with to look at that. I haven't got all the answers off the top of my head, but we can give a few examples of here, there and everywhere.
That would be really helpful, because we could possibly contact them and talk to them ourselves.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there one more question that we could take? Yes, ladies down the front here.
Can I just make a point? Whilst I understand the aim to reduce the gram-negative infections, I think the difficulty we've got at the moment is it's got to be across the healthcare approach. At the moment, everybody's looking at everybody else who moves first, and we have had quoted about the quality premium's not worth the money because of the resource that's needed, and there's issues of actually getting this information. So if the patient's it has been in and out of hospital, the actual the IG issues of actually getting the information and the time involved and who's going to enter the data, there's a lot of resource implications of this that actually at the moment I think everybody's sort of struggling to address, and it was just really whether there's some support to try and help make sure that we actually, when we ask them for this information, that it's going to become forthcoming. But also some understanding that actually there's some resources needed here as well.
There is no central resource. There isn't a fund of money that's going to come your way, but it's about, I believe, how you work together within that local economy. And where I've been, people do have the information and they are sharing it, and it's about relationships are key in making improvements. And there are issues around the data capture system and who has access and all of that IG, but it doesn't, the quality premium's not asking for it to be on the data capture system. The mandatory fields is only the top line, which acute providers have been doing anyway, historically have put all cases on. That's no different to what has been doing. So the enhanced information will become mandated, but it doesn't get locked down in the same time. You're not working on a 28-day cycle. But I think that we can probably point you to areas that have achieved really good ways of working together, and how they review it as a patient, it's a person, it isn't data. And these are people who've become acutely unwell, though, who have ended up in an acute provider. So a lot of that information for the hospital stay will be with the acute provider, won't it? And I was an acute provider. We put a lot of that information on the DCS. But then it will be about how to, I as the acute provider, then liaise out to say, you know, how did Mrs. Jones, where had she been and who had looked after, and how do we get that further information? I think the difficult piece seems to be, or what's being fed back to us, is about particularly GP prescribing and how you get that engagement, I think, is the key concern, perhaps. And I think perhaps people like Elizabeth might be far better at looking in her session about how some of the ways we work through the quality premium and how you get that working across to get the... It seems to be the prescribing, I believe, and the GP interface. Because if a district nurse has been involved, a community nurse, there's very good flows of information and people are discussing it. But it won't just happen overnight, will it? We will have to change the way we think and work.